James Sant. James is the Culinary and Creative Director for Living Light Culinary Institute in Fort Bragg. As you know, that's the Raw Foods Institute. Right. So we're going to let him take the stage. Please welcome James.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. As she stated, I am the Culinary Programs Director and Creative Director of Living Light Culinary Institute in Fort Bragg, celebrating 20 years this year as the birthplace of raw vegan cuisine and the chef certification program that followed it. We have trained more people in raw vegan chef certification than any program in the world, and we're going strong. We are expanding bigger and better than ever. It has now opened the umbrella to cooked vegan and raw. So I have a whole new kitchen and a whole new half of my campus opening up within 2 months with also cooked vegan now, as well as the raw vegan program, which has its own great place in everything that we do. Today what I'm going to show you is a wild mushroom ceviche. Ceviche is something that comes out of the Peruvian areas down in South America. It didn't exist until the Spaniards came over with all of their citrus trees and started planting them when they were conquering the South America and doing things that we don't want to think about. But the natives from the area that had a seafood as part of their diet started noticing that the acids, the acidulation of playing around with the lemons and limes and oranges and grapefruits and different things could be used to cook the fish without even using heat. So that's ceviche, and it's an acidulation marinade. Now, of course, I'm not going to be doing fish because we're vegan, right? So, but if you start playing around in the vegan world, you quickly realize that there's incredible textures in the world of mycelium. That's the mushrooms, okay? And so what I've done is taken some wild boletes from Mendocino, one of the best mushroom hunting areas in the entire country, where our institute is, and some gold chanterelles, fresh out of the forest, both of those from one of the pickers that we get mushrooms from. I've also added some king oyster mushrooms in there. All of those have a great texture to them, and when you slice them up and marinate them, they have that mouthfeel of calamari. Okay, so that's our seafood in the ceviche. That's our vegan conversion here. I'm also putting in there a young Thai coconut, okay, the meat from this, which also is a great texture to emulate that texture of calamari. It has wonderful, you cut it in little strips and you can marinate it however you want. Yes, it's sweet in here, but I've put it into a marinade overnight with all of my julienne wild mushrooms and sea palm. See the sea palm in there? That's a seaweed. Now, where our institute is, we also show people how to harvest seaweed. Seaweed's a wonderful, most incredible source for iodine and protein in a vegan diet. So it's a very important thing to learn how to use, but you can also flavor things like the ocean. You can get a fishy taste in things by using seaweed. So marinated that in hot water. When you're using wild mushrooms, you need to cook them a little bit. So this is not fully a raw dish. It's about 90%, 95% raw. The mushrooms, the wild mushrooms, had to be sweated in a saute pan. You just have to. They're not edible raw. So don't go out and try and eat raw mushrooms in a raw dish. You got to do a little fusion with cooked, which is one of our most popular classes now, our cooked fusion class, where we do gentle cooking a little bit, but mostly raw. So they sat overnight and marinated in the seaweed, and it was put on the mushrooms with hot boiling water so that the flavor from the seaweed was saturated into that water. It turned dark green, and then we let the mushrooms soak overnight in that, and the young Thai coconut. So that's our seafood element in the dish, okay? So I've got that finished and drained, and just throw that in the bowl here. And then I'm just doing some other classic kind of flavors in the ceviche. I also am wild about fermentation. My kids will tell you that growing up in my house was like, they called it the fermentation station. You never knew what was going to fall out when you opened the fridge. And their friends would come over and go, what's that? Because there's just like alchemy jars going on all over the place. Our local farmers, Mendocino County is part of the tri-county area of, what do they call it? Let's just say it's cannabis counties, okay? And the Emerald Triangle, thank you. But the floor has fallen through on those farms. They're going bankrupt. They're closing because pot is now cheap. So what they're doing is turning into organic farmers. And so there's beautiful homegrown organic farms all over Fort Bragg now. And so I don't get my food from the veritable vegetable truck from San Francisco anymore. 90% of everything that we use in our Culinary Institute is being grown at Fortunate Farm or Nye Ranch or the Forest Project with the high school kids. It's incredible. And any other number of mom and pop organic farms. These peppers came from the farmer's market, and the students going through my gourmet program pickled them in a fermentation lesson that we had. So these are in here also. Wonderful, wonderful array of heirloom peppers. The guy who grew them didn't even know what all of them were because he just randomly got a bunch of heirloom pepper seeds. So those are in there. Then I have, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. I have cucumber. Cucumber is a common element in ceviche. It just is what they use in ceviche. So I peeled that down, okay, and cut it in half. Take a spoon and rake out the seeds because I just want that meat, that texture of that meat in there. And I did take the skin off, okay? Very, very healing cucumber for thousands of years. People have been using it in spa treatments, as on the skin, in the body, very detoxing to our body. A wonderful, juicy, sweet thing to have in here with all of the other flavors that are going on. We have some red jalapenos in there also. I've also put in some golden berries. I don't know if any of you have seen golden berries. These are really fun to grow. They grow on a vine and they go crazy. They love the coast. And this is from Fortunate Farm. That's what they look like. They're in the same family with the tomatillas. And if you've grown tomatillas, they also look like that. And I also have organic purple heirloom tomatillas. And if you haven't tried a purple tomatillo, do it. They're sweet. They're not that super tart of the green tomatillos. I have an incredible purple tomatilla soup. If you sign up for our newsletter, you'll get the recipe for that one. It's incredible. Okay? And so I've got the purple tomatillas in there, heirloom tomatoes in there of all kinds. Look at these wild, beautiful. Look at the striations in there. These are all coming from local farms. All of these, I walk around the farmer's market this Wednesday and gathered up all the ingredients for this. This is a dish that, besides the coconut, which does have a carbon footprint, the carbon footprint for most of this was Fort Bragg, was our area of the coast, and Mendocino. So that's what we teach at the Institute, that the shortest path from dirt to plate is the most healthiest, okay? The longer something is being transported and stored and refrigerated and flown across the globe, the less value it has for you. It's going to be diminishing in phytonutrients, in vitamins, and in minerals that are very good for your body. And, you know, our program is the oldest raw food gourmet program in the world, so that's the pillars we stand on, that the less heat you put to something, the more nutritious it is. I'm not against heat completely. I'm not 100% raw. I healed myself from a very serious industrial accident where I was paralyzed down my right side with plant food, and it changed my life and turned the clock back on my life, and I felt younger than ever. I'm 56 going on 26 now as far as the energy that I have, and people that work with me will tell you that. I run full speed all day with people from all over the world that come through for our wonderful programs here to get certified in raw vegan and now just normal cooked vegan and cooked raw fusion classes. So, and we also, by the way, have the most spectacular nutrition program available for raw vegan nutrition certification. It's Brenda Davis and Visanto Molina, and you'll see them out talking at all the Veg Fests and before the World Health Council and all these. They're on the documentaries in the world of the science of raw vegan nutrition, and they run an incredible nutrition program, which is coming up, by the way, in December if anyone's interested. And if you mention this festival on any of our classes or workshops, 25% off. So if you are inquiring, make sure that you mention that. I really recommend their nutrition program. It is incredible. Then I have bell pepper in there, yellow bell pepper and red bell peppers. This is a mixture of all of those different things that have been chopped up and diced. We've got the cucumber, we've chopped down the sea palm a little bit, and all the different heirloom peppers. They were just heirloom sweet peppers from all of my local farmers that I just gathered up and threw in there. It's a very colorful dish, ceviche, so it's a really festive, fun thing to serve for a party. It's incredible. And just one second here. Can I have a chip? Then, I forgot to bring one of these out. I'm serving it with my incredible golden sprouted crisp. These are raw. These are made in a dehydrator, and it may be one of the most incredible corn chips you've ever tasted in your life. Seriously. It has a wonderful array of ingredients in it. Sprouted almonds. So I've soaked those raw almonds till the tail comes out and they're sprouted, so they're activated, and they come to life, and they're more nutritious for our body. So if we can sprout anything in our program, we will. Any seed, nut, or grain that can be sprouted, turn it into plant, wake up the plant inside it, and get the chi energy going in it, and now it has more nutrition, more bioavailable nutrition for your body. Okay, so sprouted almonds, sprouted golden flax seeds that are soaked, and then sprouted buckwheat. This is whole buckwheat. It looks blonde when you buy it in the bulk section. You can sprout that easily. Fresh corn right off the cob. It's that time of year where we can just get the fresh corn. And yes, you can eat corn raw. If you haven't tried it, do it. It's wonderful. You don't have to cook corn. And I think it tastes better raw. It actually has zeaxanthin, very high levels of zeaxanthin when it's in its raw form, which is really good for your eyes. So raw corn is in there, red bell peppers, and sweet onions. And then just some Fresno chilies, some cumin, taco seasoning, turmeric, and salt, and flax meal to bind it all together. So that's some dry flax seeds that are ground into a flour. They're very mucilagenic, and they bind things together so that you can spread them. Okay, so that's all in here. It's a very colorful, textural chip. I just put all of the soaked stuff together and all the diced up bell peppers into a giant bowl like this and stir it all up, and then I take it and put it into a food processor. That's a Cuisinart, and just pulse it. But I watch. I'm not making a dough out of it. I want chunks of it. I want to see and taste the almond, the sesame seed, the flax, the buckwheat, everything. So there's a lot of texture to it and a lot of flavor that's retained. It doesn't become one mushy combined flavor. You can actually discern the different flavors in it. Then we spread it on Teflon sheets. Right before we put it in the dehydrator, we sprinkle some hemp hearts on the top and press those in. Those are also an incredible source of protein and omega-3s for us. Then they're dehydrated overnight. And in the morning, they're flipped over and cut out into these shapes, and then continue to dry for another 4 hours, and they're finished. Okay, so those are raw chips. Those are served with the ceviche. Okay, and everything in them is classic ingredients from the south of the border. So they're perfect with something that comes from the south of the border. So that's what we're serving with it, that you can eat it with. And I love dichotomies of flavor in my mouth when I'm eating something. This has a lot of sweetness to it, and pepperiness, and the ocean flavors. But I'm also taking just some red cabbage. Love cabbage. Cabbage is incredible. I camped a lot growing up, and my kids lived in the woods with me when they were young because I love being in the outdoors. If you camp a lot, always remember cabbage, because you don't have a sink always to make a salad when you're camping. And once you take those two outer leaves off, it's totally sterile. Completely sterile. It grows from the inside out. You just take those outer leaves off, you don't even need to wash it. You can make a salad anywhere. Just chiffonade that up, and you've got a great salad. Okay? But also really high in vitamin C, and of course, antioxidants that are incredible in the purple cabbage. Purple being the most powerful color in Mother Nature. All of the blueberries and raspberries and blackberries and cabbage and purple tomatillos, anything in the purple range has the highest antioxidants. Every color in the rainbow has its own phytonutrients and vitamins that deliver to our body. When I put together a great dish, I want to see a bunch of different color. Now I know this is like eating a multiple vitamin. You know, I'd much rather spend the money that I would spend on multiples, which I don't buy anymore since I went raw vegan, mostly raw vegan. I do some cooked. I get my vitamins from my food. And when it's coming local, I know it's super, super healthy. Okay? So I've taken purple cabbage, squeezed some lime on it, and then just massaged it into there. Okay? And a little bit of salt on there. And that's the bed that I create when I serve this. And the way I serve this at a dinner party is in a martini glass, because it's pretty stunning to serve it that way. And you can just put your bed of cabbage in the bottom, like so. And mix this up a little bit. They also diced some avocado into the one that you're going to have. I didn't have the avocado yet in this one here, so that would be in here too. And I just put that right on there. This has all these wonderful citrus notes all through it, from grapefruit, orange, and lime. Some people do their ceviche only with lime, but I like to create a more gourmet blend of citrus juice. Why not? Why not give it an extra edge? When you try this one, the juice from it is like, what is that? You can't, it's like this intriguing citrus flavor, but you don't know what it is. It's just great, but it's got notes of grapefruit in there, notes of orange in there, and notes of lime in there, all playing with each other. Okay, so that's how I do them at home. And I just sold 2 of these off there. Of course, I do this, and that's the finishing touch. And put a piece of cilantro on there. How am I doing on time, Steve? Time? 2:05. All right. And then we can bump it up. They forgot to bring, can I have that Vitamix? The whole thing. I'm going to make a topping for it. Thank you. Perfect.
I have the small one.
Yeah, that's what I want. The small one. Yep. So, I'm vegan, so of course I'm not going to make a sour cream with cow's milk. And so I soak cashews, okay? But I also threw in there some chipotle, some dried organic chipotle. Okay, so this will become a chipotle sour cream very easily by blending it up, okay? In addition, you're going to want to put in just a touch of apple cider vinegar. I don't use dead vinegars. I only use living foods. This is a living vinegar. It has a mother in it, so get the vinegars that have a mother in it. And if you want to learn how to make your own vinegars, come on over to Fort Bragg, because I'll show you. And it's really fun. If you do kombucha, you can use that kombucha mama to do all kinds of fruit vinegars too, by the way. So, and I forgot to mention, I did also put a little bit of yuzu juice on that red cabbage. I love yuzu. It's a citrus fruit from Japan that's really got an intriguing flavor to it also. So I love that. That's optional. You don't have to do that. Let me show you a little. Here's the gold chanterelles that are in there from the Mendocino forest. Here's the boletes. The king boletes are popping right now in Mendocino. And then this is the king oyster mushroom. Organic king oyster mushroom, okay? Those are the mushrooms that are at play in here. We'll just take this and put it in here. And can you tell her to bring me the squirt bottle? Thank you. We'll put in a little bit of vinegar there. And blend this up. Put that there in case it spits. That's all right. Gotta let it burp. It's like a baby. You gotta burp a Vitamix. It gets an air thing going down in the bottom, and you gotta give it a burp. And then it's back in action. It creates a vortex, and the air sucks down that vortex and creates a bubble around the blade. Pretty soon it's just spinning and not doing anything. And you'll always know because the vortex disappears. See, the vortex came back. Okay, perfect. What I was watching for there is I see the little grains going up and around when I'm watching the vortex, and I wait till I see a satin sheen across the top, and I know it's done. Okay, now I've got a nice, creamy chipotle sour cream, which needs a little bit more of a kick. So you just put a little bit more of that. That's just to taste. You know, you can make it as sour as you want when you're creating a sour cream. Okay, and we use the other side because we can't double dip. Perfect. So this would be my finishing touch, is just put a little bit of a chipotle sour cream in there and then stick that chip in. That's the perfect touch there. And I'm going to hand this back into the kitchen so they can put a little bit of that on each one. Just grab a spoon. I think this is the only little spoon back there, so wash it off, and you can use that. Just put a dollop on each one. So, can you wait to taste this? There it is. Wild mushroom ceviche. I hit this festival circuit all over the place. At the Eclipse Festival last year, I did a whole week of demos every single day. There's a recipe packet that came about from that. So make sure, if you want to get this free ebook recipe packet, sign up here. You'll also be signing up for our newsletter, and we give recipes out every month. Beautiful, raw and cooked vegan recipes. Like I said, we've been doing this 20 years. We are the mothership of all raw vegan gourmet food. We have incredible certification programs, and in this you've got the golden sprouted crisps, you've got the ceviche recipe, you've got an incredible gazpacho that's tomato and watermelon. Really incredible recipe. Gotta try that. You'll have my Indonesian kimchi, which uses a sambal olek from Bali, and then the Korean type kimchi concept, and my vegan s'mores. You see those? These are magic. These are made with aquafaba. Aquafaba is the juice from chickpeas, and you can whip it up like a meringue. And I have a special method here by putting a little bit of cream of tartar and some xanthan gum in there to get it totally marshmallow texture. Then I torch the top, and it tastes exactly like it just came out of the campfire. It gets exactly the same taste, but more healthy. You know, marshmallows are made with high fructose corn syrup, so none of us should ever eat them. But this one, you can eat as many as you want. Okay, and it's got a pecan-based graham cracker crust on the bottom and a chocolate ganache in the middle. This one is popular. We did it at the Earth Day Festival, and the crowd rushed us so bad we thought they were everything was going to fall apart after they watched us torch them, because the smell of the toasted marshmallows is just palpable. So, and then I've got a wonderful mono fruit, incredible recipe just for cinnamon rolls in here also, that is just bananas that are filleted out, and it's bananas, date paste, and a Vietnamese cinnamon, and that's it, and some raisins, and it's indescribably delicious. You do it in either a warm oven or a dehydrator. The bananas, after they've sat in a warm oven for a while and or dehydrator, get a cake-like texture to them, believe it or not. And you roll them up, and you eat it. It's just like, it's the most incredible gluten-free, healthy cinnamon roll you'll ever have, with no processed sugars in it at all. It's just date paste. Okay, that came out of the Woodstock Wood Festival. Alicia Ojeda, another great alumni of ours that taught with me at the school, brought this one back, and she created that for that show. So that's an Alicia Ojeda recipe. So you've got one of hers, and the rest of them are from Chef James from Living Light. Up here I've got all of our different certifications. If you're curious, come and grab any of these. We've got our Vegan Artisan Dessert certification. We've got our Mastery of Raw Vegan Cuisine certificate, and that is what all of the people going through that you see running around with me today. I have my full session going, so I brought all my students with me. So I've got all my helpers and angels, and we have someone here that said she was an angel with Sherry years ago. Sherry's retired now. She's out running ultra marathons around the world at 71 years old. So over 100 miles in some of the races. That'll show you what a raw vegan lifestyle will do to you. You don't retire and go sit on the couch. You retire and go run the world. And the nutrition certificate, and then this is that new cooked raw fusion we're doing of gentle cooking in our new addition to the Institute. We own our own inns. When you come over to the coast to take classes, you can stay in a choice of 2 different eco-friendly inns. We bought the hospital in Fort Bragg. We named it the Redwood Coast Inn. We're renovating that into a beautiful, organic, vegan inn, and we also have the Living Light Inn, which we've had for years. So if you are going up to the Mendocino area, whether you're coming to take classes or not, remember that there's 2 inns to choose from in Fort Bragg that are incredible, beautiful, vegan, eco-friendly places to stay. Okay? Yes?
Do you still have your cafe there?
The cafe was closed temporarily while we went into construction to build out our cooked vegan school. The grab-and-go mini cafe is opening up within a month. It'll be back, okay? And you should see the spectacular ballroom we have overlooking the ocean for our new school. It's incredible. And the pop-up meals sell out that we're doing up there. So we're going to have this ceviche sample ready for you. Yep. Are they bringing them in here, or are they going out here to get them? Okay. So make sure to stop by and get them. I think we made enough for all of you. So...